Hello and welcome to the latest in the Nexudus webinar series. My name is Sam and I'm part of the support and training team here at Nexudus. Today we're going to be looking at how you can onboard and manage corporate clients within your Nexudus account. As usual, this webinar is going to last 20 to 25 minutes and we'll be taking questions throughout. Please ensure that with any of those questions, you add them to the Q&A function on Zoom rather than within the chat. It's going to make it much easier for myself and my colleague Damien to get through to those and get responses to you. You'll also be able to find the recording of this and our other webinars on the support.nexudus.com website, along with many other resources to help you manage your Nexudus account. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at how you can set up and manage corporate accounts using the Teams function that we have in Nexudus. To start with, we'll go through the difference between a company record and an individual record. We'll take a look at what types of plans you can use when creating these company accounts and the teams and stuff like that, and how you can structure them. We'll then take a look at setting up a team and assigning a paying customer within a team. We'll see how we can share credits and access within that company that you've set up. And we'll take a look at the options the paying customer and the team administrator has for when they're invoicing and managing the team's access and control and stuff like that. We'll take a look at how they can manage the team profile, so that appears as the company within the directory. And we'll finish off by taking a look at some of the team billing and how those charges go from the team members over to the paying customer. Okay, so let's get going by just taking a quick look at the difference between a company and an individual within Nexudus. So within Nexudus, all of your customers are either members or contacts. Members are those that are signed up to a membership plan, and contacts are those that might purchase stuff from you on an ad hoc basis. So they just buy a product from you once in a while, or they might book a meeting room this month, and then you might not hear from them for a few months or something like that. All of those customers, so your members and your contacts, can then be categorized as companies or individuals. And it's a very simple distinction between a company and an individual. The company is literally just a customer record which can house the legal entity of a company, whereas an individual is literally just a single person. So when you're creating a company record, you'll see the fields company name and primary contact. And when you're creating an individual record, you'll just have full name. So an example of this would basically be if Nexudus as a company, we were hiring out a whole office from a co-working space, then Nexudus will be registered as a company, whereas me as an employee of Nexudus, Sam, I would just be registered as an individual within the platform. So if we just move over to our Nexudus platform, which I have open here, and when we go to add customer, we'll be able to just see these fields very simply here. So the type of customer here, individual, we get full name and email address. If we change that to company, then we get company name, primary contact, and email address. That's pretty much the only distinction there. It's just a way of you categorizing between a company and an individual. Okay, so let's just go back over to our slideshow here and just move over to the next page. So what we're going to be taking a look at as we move through the webinar is two different scenarios. So the first scenario we'll be looking at is going to be a client that's going to be paying £5,000 per month to rent out a whole office, and that capacity of that office is going to be 10 team members. So we'll be able to add up to 10 people for that £5,000. The whole team will get 20 hours of meeting room credit to be shared amongst everybody. And yeah, as I say, they're going to be paying that flat £5,000 per month, regardless if they have one team member, 5 team members, up to 10. And all of those customers will receive 24/7 access to the space. Then in scenario 2, we'll be taking a look at a client who will be paying a membership fee of £1,000 per month, which gives access to one dedicated desk. And then they will pay an additional £500 for each additional team member they have, taking out a separate dedicated desk. The paid dedicated desk, sorry, not the paid one, the paying members dedicated desk membership will include 1 hour of meeting room credit per day, and that can only be used by the paying member of the team. And then everybody in the team will be able to access Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. Okay, so the next thing we need to look at to set all of this up is the plans that we're going to need. So the plans are essentially the membership templates. So when you sign a customer up, if they are on a plan, then that means that they are a member and they will have a contract for that plan. So I've actually created all of these plans within this account already, just to make it a lot faster to go through. But what we'll do is we'll take a look through everything that we need to actually set up here. So if I just go to inventory and plans, what I'll do is I'll just flick back and forth between this screen and our slideshow, just so that we can make sure we're catching everything. So the first thing we're going to need to have here is the office plan, which will be assigned to the paying member, and that's going to be £5,000 per month. So if I just move over, we can see we've got office plan, and within the price tab here, we have £5,000 and its billing frequency of per month. If we go back over here, we can see that we need to add those benefits of 20 hours of time credit for the meeting rooms. And we also need to assign 7 passes per week so that the paying member can access 24/7. So if we go back over and look in our benefits tab, we can see that we've got 1,200 minutes, which is 20 hours of meeting room credit every month, every billing cycle. And then we've got the 24/7 access passes here. I'm just going to click on change here. So you can see that I've allocated 7 passes every week. So our advice, if you're giving somebody unlimited access, always provide 7 passes per week rather than 1 pass every day or 31 passes every month. We found that 7 passes every week is definitely the best way to do this. It's always best to issue passes weekly if they give a consistent access. So we'll take a look at that, obviously, when we look at the scenario 2 as well. Okay, so in terms of our paying members plan, that's all we need here. So we've got the cost of £5,000 per month, we've got 20 hours worth of time credit, and we've got the 7 access passes. So what we also need to have is an office team member plan. This is going to be a 0 cost plan because the paying member is going to be liable for the £5,000, and that is going to be paid monthly up to 10 team members. So if we just go back to our plans here, we've got this team member one set up here. And the price, we have a 0 price every month. And then let's take a look at what benefits we need to add. So all we need to do here is actually give the 24/7 access passes. So if we just take a look at the benefits, we don't need any time credit there. We just need the passes here. Again, we've allocated 7 every week. If we just take a look at this pass here, we can see that because it's giving 24 hours access, we don't need to put any restrictions on this. So availability, everything like that is just going to be as it is. We don't need to add any restrictions. Whereas with our 9 to 5 passes that we're going to take a look at for our dedicated desks, we'll be able to see how we've allocated that access. Okay, so moving on to scenario 2, what we're going to need to have is the dedicated desk paying member plan at a cost of £1,000 per month. This is going to include 1 hour of meeting room credit per day, and then we'll give that plan 5 9 to 5 Monday to Friday passes. So let's just go through that step by step on this side. So dedicated desk paying member. So within the price, we've got that as £1,000 per month. And then within our benefits, we have, oh, sorry, bear with me, I'm in the wrong plan here. So dedicated desk paying member. We've got benefits of 60 minutes every day and the 5 access passes every week. So let's just open this up and look at this specific pass. And then within the availability here, we can see that I've restricted this to only be available Monday to Friday from 9 till 5. Means that anybody that has this pass can only access between those times, depending on if you're using a manual check-in process, Wi-Fi, or an access control system. This is what tells our system, or tells the Nexudus servers, whether this person should have access at those times. Okay, so that's for the paying member of the dedicated desk. So let's take a look at the dedicated desk additional team member. So if we go back over to the Nexudus platform again and go to inventory and plans, we have our dedicated desk additional member here. And if we look at the price, we can see that that is £500 per month, which is correct. And the benefits, we don't need any time credit here. Oh, I'm sorry, bear with me, I'm on the paying member one again. I think my system's just caching a little bit there just because I've been looking at these plans quite a lot today. So if I go to the benefits, definitely on the additional member here, time credits, we don't have any because they're not, this membership plan doesn't receive any. And we've got those 5 passes every week that are 9 till 5. So if we go back over to our slideshow, we know that everything we've got here, we've broken everything down and we've got everything set up correctly there. Okay, so just before we actually move on and set up these customers, what I'm going to do is just explore teams and team settings. Now, we did actually host another webinar on teams specifically, which goes into much more depth than I'm going to here, but we'll take a look at them quite a lot here, just to how we can create teams and stuff like that. The other webinar you can find on support.nexudus.com. Okay, so in Nexudus, you can organize your members or contacts into a team. Basically, you can organize your customers into a team. And they're a great way to set up companies. So when you are onboarding these corporate clients, the way to actually combine the paying person or the company record with all of their employees is via a team. So what you can then do when you've set up that team, you can share credit and passes between everyone in the team. So in the scenario where we're going to share those 20 hours of meeting room credit, we can share that amongst all of our team members. We can offer that company discounts via the team. We can also merge that invoicing so that the company or the corporate client is going to be responsible for all of the invoices for that team. We can set up a company profile to appear on the directory. And we also have team invite links. So you as admins of the Nexudus account, you won't be needing to invite these customers all the time. The team administrators and the paying customers, they can invite their employees to the team. They can actually add them as well. And we can set up some default plans for them and stuff like that. Okay, so just whilst we're looking at the teams as well, the paying customer is a very important part of the team. So you can specify one member of a team as the team paying customer. This, in our scenarios, is going to be the corporate client. So they're going to be the company, they're going to be the ones that are actually responsible for paying the invoices. And to make them responsible for paying the invoices, we need to enable merging of the invoicing, which we'll take a look at when we actually set up these corporate clients. And then when you select a team paying customer, it also allows the team paying customer to share their benefits within the team. So just one thing to bear in mind here is that you can only do this when the member you're selecting as the paying customer has credits that are linked to their plan. So stuff that comes from a product that is not combined and shared amongst the team. It's only ones that come from a plan. So if we take a look at a little bit more of the credit sharing. So in terms of passes, we would generally always advise that members of a team have their own passes. It's going to ensure that they have their own access rather than relying on the paying customer's access. So for instance, if you're using the access control system, if the member doesn't have their own passes, it's just extra checks that the servers have to do. It's going to increase any lag time potentially. So it's always best to have their own passes. The only time we'd really recommend sharing passes is when the team would have something like 40 hours per month to be shared throughout the whole team. So team member 1 could use 10 hours, team member 2 could use 5 hours, but it's just a pool of access that they get between the whole team per month. Generally, if you're giving unlimited or consistent access, we'd always advise giving each team member their own passes rather than pooling them together. And with the money and time credits, you can choose to either just share the paying customers' credits, or you can also choose to combine credit, which will pull all of the credits from all of the team members onto the paying customers account, and then everybody in the team will have access to everybody's credits. One thing to bear in mind there is that if there's one person in the team that is obviously booking a lot, then they are going to be eating into other people's time. So it's just something to be wary of there. It can be, obviously, generally I'd advise leaving that up to the client themselves, whether they want to share that. It's not like a rule that you have to have one for all. You can change that per team. Okay, so now we've looked at teams, let's take a look at actually setting up these scenarios. So before we just do move on, let's just refresh on scenario 1 just before we move on. So this client's going to be paying £5,000 per month to rent out a whole office with the capacity of 10 team members. They're going to receive 20 hours of meeting room credit to be shared amongst the whole team. And the company's going to be paying a flat fee, whether they have 1, 5, or 10 team members. And all of the customers within that team will receive, or within that company will receive 24/7 access to the space. Okay, so let's move over to our Nexudus platform and we'll actually get ahead and actually start creating some stuff here. So I'm just going to click the plus button at the top here and then customer. So the first thing to do is check the add more than one customer box here. Allows us to add multiple people. And the first record at the top here is the one that I'm going to create as the company record. So the company, let's just call this office team, and then the other one can be the dedicated desk team. So office team primary contact. You can see that I've already been through this today. There's the practice run. So we've got all this stuff in here in my drop downs already. So office team 1. Within here, the plan section, this is where I'm going to be assigning the office plan that costs the £5,000 per month. So that is the company that is paying for that. And then as we move through here, we can add the individuals. So it's going to be team member 1. Let's just add a couple of team members here. We don't need to add all the way up to 10. Team 1 at nexudus.com. And this team member is going to be assigned the team member plan, the zero cost one, because obviously technically up to 10 people are included in this 5,000 price here. So team member 2. Assign the plan to team member 2 as well. So you can see as I'm adding these customers, as soon as I start typing an email address in, it actually gives me the option to add additional customers down here. If I leave this blank, it's just going to ignore it. It's not going to create a blank record or anything like that. So something important to understand here is that the person that is in the number 1 position here, they will be registered when we create the team and merge the invoicing. They are going to be registered as the paying customer of the team. Now you can change this after you've created the team, but I would advise just when you're actually creating this from scratch here in this process, always ensure you create that paying customer or the company record as number 1 in this list. The additional function with that is with desks and offices, which we'll take a look a little bit more into shortly. But just whilst we're here, I'm just going to assign an office to this team. So essentially what happens is when we're adding more than 1 customer, the person in position 1 will have that office assigned to that contract. So we know that the company is number 1, they've received that office plan, they will also be assigned that office that we've actually chosen from the floor plan here as well. Okay, so the next thing for us to do is to actually group these together within a team. So when we click add to a team here, we can then start typing in the team name. If that team doesn't already exist, it's just going to give us the option to add the team. So create a new record. It's going to pop open this extra box here. So we have some extra fields here, such as the billing, discounts, and profile and stuff. For now, I'm just going to save, and then we'll explore those options as we open the team back up so that we can see how they actually look. So I'm just going to save that. And just double check everything here. So we've got our office team. That's the company. They have got the office plan that costs £5,000 per month. We've got a couple of team members here that obviously don't need to pay anything. Let's just go back to our scenario here. So at this stage, that is everything that we can set up. There will be some more stuff that we need to do within the team. So if we just go ahead and save, this is now going to create 3 members within our Nexudus account. One of them is a company, 2 of them are individuals, and they will all be grouped together within a team. So we can see we've got our office team company here, and then we've got our 2 individuals here. They are all members because they've got that plan here. I'm just going to open any of these back up, and then within the Teams tab, we'll be able to see the team here. One thing I did forget to do when setting that up was actually enable the merged invoicing. So I'm just going to click on add customer again, just to show you that, just because I missed it. So when you add all of the customers, when you add to a team and actually assign that team here, if you select this merge all invoices for the team button here, it's going to assign the person that's the #1 record as the paying customer of that team, and it will also merge the invoices. It's not too big of an issue that we've missed it. We can just go ahead and add that here. So office team, just going to assign the company as the paying customer here, and then save the changes. And then we'll just go back to details just to carry on where I left off. So now we've opened up our team. Obviously we've got the name here, got a description that we can add. This is just a brief description. You can add that, you can leave that blank. There's also the public profile, which is a little bit more in depth for that. And then as we move down here, we've got some fields that are more interesting to us. So we've got the sign up links here, which you as an admin can send to either the paying customer of this team, or you can send to all of their employees if you know who they are, or the people that you need to add to the team. You can send these directly to them. And as soon as they sign up, they will be added directly to this team. So you're not going to then manually have to add them. The next important field, which is obviously key for the scenario we're setting up, is the default plan for new members. So we know that the paying customer pays for the office plan, and we know that everybody else is going to be on the team member plan. So we can set this default plan for new members so that when a customer does use one of these invite links, or if they use an invite link that we can see that the team admin has on the front end members portal, then they are automatically going to be assigned to this team member plan. And we've also got the option here to limit the team to 10 members. So we know that we need to enable both of those. So the company is paying a flat fee whether they have 5 team members or 10. So we need to maximize it at 10. And we know that they all need to be signed up to the team member plan. So I'm just going to go ahead and save that now. And then as we scroll down here within the team, you can add existing customers to the team, you can add a new customer to the team, and the cancel entire team button here is also quite key. So if office team, the team that we've set up here, the company, the corporate client, whatever we want to call them in this scenario, if they are going to leave at any time, instead of having to go through and cancel the contract of every team member, you can just click cancel entire team. It doesn't delete the team or remove any history for the team. It literally just cancels all of the contracts for those team members. So it's a good way of offboarding a whole company at once. It removes all of that access and all of their passes and benefits and everything like that. Just whilst I mention passes and benefits, what we need to do just as the final point of this team is go within and share time credit and printing credit from our credit sharing section here. That's because we have those 20 hours per month that are going to be shared amongst the team. Okay, so in terms of setup, that is pretty much it. What I'm going to do is just go back into team member 1 here, for example, and take a look within the benefits and passes section. We can see that team member 1 receives all of their own passes. That means they can access 24/7 based on this access that we've given them. However, they won't see anything in the time credit. The time credit is going to be on the paying customer's account. And when logging in, when team member 1 places a booking, it's just going to deduct from that credit on the paying customer's account. They won't actually, it's not going to be housed on their account because technically it's not theirs. Okay, so in terms of setting up scenario 1, that is it. So now what we can do is move on to scenario 2. So scenario 2, the client is going to be paying a membership fee of £1,000 per month, and it's going to give access to the paying member of the team for a dedicated desk, and that's going to be 9 to 5 Monday to Friday, as with the other customers. And the other employees there, or the members there, are going to be paying £500 per person for each additional team member. And the whole team is going to receive 50% discount on bookings, and the paying customer will receive 1 hour of meeting room credit per day. Okay, so let's go over and get these set up quickly. Obviously, we've taken a look at some of these fields when we're setting up. We're just going to take a look at a few of the other ones when we actually create these. So again, just going to add more than one customer. The top one's just going to be a company record, and we'll just do it as dedicated desk company, dedicated desk paying cost, and then DD paying. Nice and easy. Okay, and then we're going to choose the dedicated desk paying member plan here. That's going to be the one that costs 1,000 a month. And then we're just going to go for DD team 1. And we'll just do one additional team member here. We don't need to do any more than one, really. So there we've got the paying member paying 1,000, each additional member paying 500. So now we just need to scroll down to add to a team and then just create that team. So dedicated desk team, add, create a new record. Again, we can just save this. We do have the option of setting up the team discounts and stuff like that. I'm just going to do that after I've created it. Personally, I find it much easier to just, as I'm creating a team like this, just to save it at this stage and then go back in and actually enable some of the other stuff. That is very much personal preference. You might find that you find it much easier to set that up when you're doing that. So here's the option that I missed on that first one, is merge all invoices for that team. This ensures that the person in number 1 here is registered as the paying customer. You've also got the additional fields down here, which I didn't touch on before, such as the home location, billing details, tax details, printing and access and stuff like that. These are very much just standard fields that you'd enter when you're creating customers anyway. They're not specific for this sort of topic that we're looking at now, but like just general stuff like billing address and stuff like that. Okay, so I'm just going to save. We should have 2 customers created, both of them members, one of them an individual and one of them a company. So we've got our company here and our individual. They're both within the members because they've got the membership plan here. And what I'm going to do now is just open up either of them and go to our team. And if we go back to our scenario here, let's just take a look at what we actually need to assign. So we know that via the plans, each of them gets this 9 to 5 Monday to Friday access. And we know that via the plan, the paying member receives the 1 hour of meeting room credit access. So we don't need to enable any shared credits or passes or anything like that. What we do need to do within the details section here is set that default plan for new members to the additional member, just so that any new person that signs up, they're going to be paying that £500 rate rather than the 1,000 or a random other plan. It's going to default them to that plan and to be a member within this team. The final thing we need to do here is just within the discounts is to enable the 50% discount for bookings for every member of this team, as described within our scenario at the bottom here. The whole team will receive 50% discount on bookings. So just before we move on from here and look at further options that you have, what I'm going to do is just go back to my paying customer here, take a look at the benefits. We just want to take a look at these passes again. So we can see that there's only the 5 passes that have been allocated here, which is exactly what we want. We don't want them to have unlimited access. And we know that within those passes, that it's restricted to Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 already. Okay, so in terms of setting up your teams and onboarding your corporate clients, that is pretty much it. So you just need to be very wary of the plan structure that you have in place. So obviously we thought out those 2 scenarios. So we thought out the exact plans that we want. It could be that you have a model where you have the plans like this. So you offer it as the company pays a flat rate regardless of how many members they have or up to a certain amount. Or you can have the second model here where they will pay an initial fee and then maybe a discounted rate for each additional team member they have on board. Whatever structure you use or a combination of those structures, it's just important to get that structure in place before you really start onboarding clients, just to keep it all well structured so that you can onboard those corporate clients in a nice smooth manner. It's always a good thing to have that structure in place. Okay, so let's move on and take a look at some other functionality that you can have here. So the first thing I want to look at is the offices and desks. So when I assigned that office to the paying customer in scenario 1, that has a knock-on effect with any access control system that you have integrated that supports assigning desks and offices. So when the desk or office is assigned to the paying member of the team, that access actually flows down through to the other team members. It doesn't automatically ensure that added to the access control system. So those individual team members still need their own passes, but when they have their own passes, they also gain access to that relevant desk or office on the access control system. So for instance, if you had a group within your access control system that is for office number 1, and you have to get through the main entrance, floor 1 and office 1, those 3 locks, then you can have all team members that are within that team access to that specific office via the paying member's contract. So just with the paying member, you also have a team administrator. So when somebody's assigned as a paying customer of a team, they automatically become an administrator of that team. You also have the option of assigning any member of a team as a team administrator within the profile tab. So if we move over to our Nexudus account, we're going to go to operations, members and contact, and within team member 1 here, so this isn't the paying member of the team, I'm just going to go within account and profile, and we have the is team administrator here. Just going to enable that, save the changes, and then select actions and access account. I'm just going to let that save before actually moving on. Essentially what this option does, it gives this team member 1 now the permissions to set up some team profile and manage the access of other team members. First thing they'll notice when they do log in is this team dashboard. So within the team dashboard, they'll be able to see all of the bookings that that team has had, and they'll also be able to see any additional charges that that team has accrued or any passes that have been purchased or anything like that. Then within the My Account section, you have the My Team section here. So within here, the team admins have the option to assign team administrator access to anybody else, whether they can make bookings, purchase products, purchase event tickets, access the community dashboard, the community directory and the message boards, and whether they can access the network. You've also got, if you have an access control system integrated, the team administrator can assign the access card ID here to connect to that access control system. And they've got this option here to manage account. So that essentially, just like you as an admin on the back end platform have, the team administrator can actually log in as team members. So if I was to click yes now, I would be logged in as team member 2. So we just click yes here. We get logged in as team member 2. So if they need to make a booking for them, change anything in the profile, cancel their contract if they've left or something like that, they can just log in as them, and then they can just click go back to your account and it takes them back to their own login. Let's just load that. I believe that my browser is just a little bit cached there just because I've been logging in and out of these customers all day. So let's just access this account again. And we'll take a look at the final options just down here within the My Team section. So next up, we have that invite link that we looked at from the back end. The team administrator can send this to their employees or new employees. It's going to then sign them up with the default plan. Obviously, because we've got the merged invoicing, those employees aren't going to be responsible for their own invoicing, and we know that they'll be applied to the correct plan. The final point that a team administrator can do here is create this team profile. So they can obviously set the name, they can add a profile, industries that they are part of, so these are the profile tags, and they can choose to include the profile in the company directory. So if we then go to the community in the directory here, not only do we have all of these individual members here, we also have the company directory. So these are just a few other dummy teams that we get set up in this account. If I open team A, not only do we see their team profile, we can also see the employees of team A or the members that are within team A. So that is the sort of the other option, or sorry, the final option that the team administrators have within the settings here. They can set that up. Okay, so the final thing to look at here is just a brief look over the team invoicing or the company invoicing, however you want to see it. So if we go to the team that we created in scenario 2, what we'll do is just open the account of our team member here. So instead of the paying customer, I'm just going to go to the team member, and go to invoices and add invoice. And what we'll see at the top here is just a prompt that the customer's invoices are paid by the paying customer as part of the team. So instead of issuing an invoice here, which you wouldn't actually be able to do for like that plan charges or something like that, you have to go through to the paying customers account. So now we're on the paying customers account, we can click add invoice, select include plan charges, and choose both of those plans, so the paying member and the additional team member. And if we scroll down and take a look at this invoice, so we've got the paying customers charges here, so £1,000 per month, and then we've also got that additional team member here for £500 per month. We've also got just the prorated settings here, just because this invoice is 14th of January to the February the 1st. But we can see that we've got both of the charges here, so the paying customer and the team member. You also get the team member's name here. Obviously, I just put a generic name here. You will get the specific team member's name, which obviously helps to break down that. You can also, at the top here, when you're choosing which plans to include, you can choose to only include certain team members' plans. Obviously, the system is going to automatically issue these invoices every month anyway. Over the next sort of 10 to 15 minutes, I would expect this invoice to issue exactly like this anyway. This is just me manually overriding that and issuing the invoice correctly. Issuing the invoice ahead of time. This is also going to happen for any bookings or products or anything like that that the additional team members purchase. They will just be accrued and combined onto the paying members account, and they'll be invoiced with the paying members contract. Okay, so the final two small options in relation to the team billing that we need to explore is just within settings and website modules and events. You have this option here to invoice event buyer instead of the paying member. This just means that if you have any events running within your space, you can invoice the individual customers rather than paying customers of the team, just because it might be that the companies don't pay for the events and stuff like that that you host. And the final option, just before we wrap everything up, would be within each customer. So let's take a look at our team member here and sales and products. If you have any products that you might sell, for example, like catering or coffees or something like that, that the team members will pay for by themselves, you can just add that product to them and you have this option here, invoice this customer instead of the paying customer of this team. So that's just going to, instead of accruing that and charging it to the paying customer, it's just going to go to the team member instead. Okay, so that about wraps up everything that we were going to look at today, to be honest. We've taken a look at how we can set up those corporate customers and the plans that we need. The important things that I think to take away from this are the plan structure that you have and the team structure. So when you onboard those corporate clients, just create the corporate client as a company and then all of their employees as those individuals, and just think about that plan structure that you might need to have. Obviously, if you need any help with that, just drop us an email at support@nexudus.com. And for any further resources or help, just go to support.nexudus.com, or I've actually got the old URL here, learn.nexudus.com. Still goes to the same place. It's absolutely fine to go to there as well. But yeah, for anything else, just please get in touch. I'm going to leave the webinar active for about 5 or 10 minutes, just so that we can cover any last questions you might have. I hope you found this helpful, and thank you for joining me, and goodbye.